What's up, guys? Welcome into the PTA pregame show. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. You can email us, PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com. You can text us 865-658-5824. Join alongside Tim in Green Bay here to talk about the Packers-Texans game. It's going to be kicking off here in roughly, what do we got, about an hour and a half, right?
That's right.
Getting geared up. This background picture here, by the way, Tim, John Kuhn tweeted it out from up top of the stadium there below the G. Man, what a beautiful shot. You see the colors changing. Obviously, it's going to be a beautiful day in Green Bay. This is what you think of when you think of October football in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Am I right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Colors on the trees are changing. The leaves are starting to fall. We got the winter warning game, white out, getting ready for winter. And, of course, it's like 75 degrees outside. Most Wisconsin thing ever. I love it.
I'll tell you, man, I've never been there. Actually, I've been there in September. Went to a few games in September. My jam is either first week of the season or wait till the snow is flying. That's kind of my rule of thumb. But we went in September several times. We went in October a couple times. We have never been to a November game, but we've been to several December games. But absolutely love it. There's no place in the world like Lambeau Field. Let's do this, Tim. If you don't shop with Ticket King, you're going to end up looking like this cat right here. You know what I'm saying? What do you think about that, my man? Woo. Look at this. It's got to be a Texas fan, right? Got to be, as they were getting boat raced by Georgia last night and got the Conway Twitty hair. Got to love it, dude.
That's I was going to say, is Conway Twitty his barber?
That birth control hair there. You ain't getting nobody pregnant wearing your hair like that. It ain't going to happen, I promise you. So
here's a guy.
Shout out to this random dude right here who you got to give credit where credit's due. My man, he got some self-confidence to wear that into the stadium on national television, no doubt.
I mean, almost as confident as the Florida State fan that had the Waffle House menu. Did you see that? I know you guys saw that one yesterday. Standing in the stands looking like a coach. I wish I had the tweet. Could have pulled that one up. Pretty funny.
Yeah, no doubt, man. College football was fun yesterday. It was a blast. There's nothing like NFL Sunday, though. I'll tell you that. As much as I love college football, there's nothing like just sitting back, couple daddy sodas, some wings, maybe some pizza, and just watching NFL football, more specifically Packer football, as we're getting geared up here for the Houston Texans game. Going to be a blast. I know the Jacksonville Jaguars got the game against the Patriots pretty well in hand over there in London. But when you're talking about the forecast today, here's what Tim was referring to. Molly Bernard tweeted this out earlier this morning. The Packers are hoping for a, quote, blizzard effect in the stands at Lambeau, but the weather is going to feel more like summer. Perfect patio weather in store this afternoon. So mid-morning during the tailgate, 10 a.m., 61 degrees at kickoff. It's supposed to be 70 degrees. And then at the start of the second half, it's going to be up to 77. I think they were saying the breeze, though, somewhere between 15 and 20-mile-an-hour winds, so might get a little bit breezy. But, man, just absolutely perfect football weather there. I don't think Josh Myers is going to be puking on the ball today, but you never know, Tim.
I hope not. But, hey, it's going to get hotter as the game progresses, right? So we'll see. And we already know this is going to be an intense battle between two really, really talented teams. So looking forward to it. Yeah, hopefully Josh keeps his breakfast down in this game for sure.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see how it goes, though, man. You never know. Never know what he had last night, right? Might find out here in a little bit. We don't know right now. Here is the official game day program. Pretty sweet, as it looks like they've got Elton Jenkins and Kenny Clark on the cover with the all-white unis. Everybody absolutely fired up over the uniforms. I know it's going to be a blast to see them run onto the field with those. We talked about how it was somewhat of a throwback to the 1950s, although if it hadn't been for our boy Chris on Twitter who tweeted about it, I don't think we would have never known that, and maybe that wasn't the Packers' plan. I don't know, but nonetheless, I love the unis. I think they're sweet, dude. I've actually got a white helmet that's very, very similar to what they're wearing today that's signed by Quay Walker. And
nice.
I hesitated on buying it because I'm like, it ain't the real helmet, should I get that? Blah, blah, blah. And then lo and behold, a year later, they're wearing a white helmet. So pretty sweet, man.
Nice. You predicted it, man. Yeah. You didn't even know it.
Mandy did. You know my cheapskate self. I'm not going to be out here out here buying stuff. I come home just about every other day, and she's got another item from Pristine Auction sitting here at the house. So
I love it.
Now, don't get me wrong. For every item she buys me from there, there's double that amount of Amazon boxes on the front porch. So I promise you, she's winning that that battle there. Now we've got a bunch of people that are out tailgating. Well, first of all, let's kind of show the first look at the unis here, and it didn't show much of a shot of it, but the Packers tweeted this out from the locker rooms. You can see the white pants, obviously the jersey, wearing the away jerseys today. So it's going to be cool, man. It's very close to that color rush that they wore a few years ago, right? Where it was all white, but they still wore the normal helmet. So the helmet is the big change, and I think it's awesome that they said Jordan Love was kind of the person that was pushing for that. It's cool to see the organization listen to him and do something a little different, man.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to take your players' input and you want to take it seriously. And I mean, come on, it's QB1, right? This isn't our new kicker talking about the uniforms. So I think that's awesome, and I know they're going to be ready to play. This is a big deal for the younger fans, younger generation too, right? Things are moving forward. Different alternate uniforms. I know, being a traditionalist and a purist like I am, I'm coming around and embracing a lot of these new looks. And every year they may do something different. Will be interesting to see what the plan is going forward. I personally want to see the old 1919, 1921 throwbacks again. And hey, I'm sure it'll come back around at some point. But for right now, the all whites are what's up. I'll take it. As long as we get the dub, I don't care what they're wearing, right?
Yeah, no doubt, man. Earlier this morning, Wes Hikowitz tweeted this out. Just a quick little shot of the stadium. As you can see, there's not a cloud in the sky, it doesn't look like. And sun rising over Lambeau Field. It's just going to be a gorgeous day for football. Man, what a great surface they've got there too. That place is. I'm always amazed every year when I go up and I step foot on it for the tour and everything, just to see how well manicured it is just awesome, man. The crown, everything is just absolutely perfect there. It's hard for me to imagine people rooting for teams other than the Packers when you think of like some of these teams that just got crappy stadiums and domes that they play, especially the domes. Oh my God, man. I don't know how you could want to go to a ball game every week and watch it indoors when you got something like this and the weather always kind of playing a factor too. But nonetheless, Wes Hikowitz is the GOAT on Twitter, always sharing all the good stuff there. We got several people that were tweeting for the tailgate here. This is Dennis Krause, says, for something different, up high view of Texans arriving on the air at 10 a.m. at the game MKE and the Packers radio network from Lambeau Field. Packers preview with look like 89 Jones. That might be our boy. What was it? James Jones.
Yeah,
might be,
James
yeah.
Jones.
And at Heller Sports before the Packers played the Texans. You see the fall colors coming into effect, man. They were out there early tailgating, everybody hanging out. It's just a magical place, no doubt. Michael Montgomery actually tweeted out, watching the game from Green Bay, Wisconsin. You see that shot there from the Titletown side.
Love it.
And the leaves turning there in Titletown. Just a gorgeous setup there. Shout out to Thomas DeChant. Look at my boys out there, got their griddle going, right? I guess that's what that's called, right? Is that called a
the
griddle?
Blackstone, yeah. I like it.
And, out there doing it upright, man. Going to be watching from Lambeau. They actually tweeted at Rob Westerman because he was asking where everybody was watching the game from this morning as well. But pretty cool to see everybody tailgating. And then our very own Badger Trio, always in here in the chat, tweeted this picture out from his seats. Man, that's some good seats, Tim. I like to be up high enough where I can see everything. That's just about right there. We're on about the 35-yard line.
For sure. And on the Packers side, too. Love it. Great seats.
Yeah, that's the way you want to go, man. No doubt. And then let's see here. Who is this? Chad Meyer tweeted at Relax. You guys, I know you're probably following Relax on Twitter. He's at, if I understood correctly, Tim, he's at his very first Packers home game, correct?
That is correct.
Yeah, awesome. And this guy tweeted at him and said, Lambeau's ready for you, my man, and check out this setup out.
Lot one.
Yeah. As you can see, man, they are getting it going early. You see the wind there, too.
There's tailgating at Lambeau, and then there's lot one tailgating at Lambeau. If you know, you know.
It's the best spot, too. Like, when I go to a game, typically I like to sit up in the box. That's like my spot up there, kind of like at the same level that the DC and the OC typically sit at. And before the game, though, we like to go down about 2-3 hours before the game, just kind of get a feel of the environment, walk around. It was cold the last time we were at Lambeau. Dude, we were cruising around lot one, just kind of walking around. And I'm telling you, man, you talk about knowing how to eat and the bar setups. full-on bars everywhere in the parking lot. It's just an amazing place. And I'm not talking about just grilling burgers and brats. Like they had the filet mignon out there. They had the ribeyes on the grill. It was just awesome. So Lot 1 is the place to be if you're ever going to tailgate at Lambeau, no doubt about it, man. They're out there doing the thing up. Shout out to Chad Meyer with that tweet there. Now, as we get a little bit closer here to kickoff, Tim, I'm gonna go back through and comb through Twitter here in a second and see if we can find the actives, inactives. If anybody else sees them, let us know. Let's go to the chat though. Nick McSwain says, "I know it's game day and and a lot is probably on the agenda, but any chance you could go over what a fullback is versus a halfback?" Absolutely. A fullback is a blocking back. Now, back in the day, they would differentiate when the fullback position was created. They would differentiate between the quarterback, the halfback, the fullback, and on. They had, in some cases, like with Curly Lambeau's box offense, he'd have 4 people in the backfield, right? And it was literally snap the ball, cue up the circus music, people going in all different directions. You didn't know who was going to get the ball. But really, the best way in modern football to describe the football or the fullback is real simple. They're a blocking back. They're a bigger back, right? Your halfback are typically smaller unless you got like a power back like Derrick Henry, people like that. And many people get confused. They think that you could convert a big back to a fullback. Like, oh, yeah, let's just throw him in at fullback. It doesn't work like that. Blocking is a skill, and run blocking specifically.
You'd be better off converting a tight end and sticking them back there.
Absolutely, yeah, no doubt about it. So with your fullback, it's predominantly a blocking back. Now, if you got somebody like Kyle Juszczyk, they can block, they can line up on the wing, they can catch the ball in the backfield. You can give it to them on a fullback dive, which, if you're running like a fullback dive 1 or a fullback dive A gap right, we talk about the numerical system. Instead of, you hear us talk about Josh Jacobs, being 22, 26, and those kind of run calls. With the fullback, it would be a 3. So like if you're going to the right, that's even numbers. So that A gap right, a fullback dive would be a 32 dive. All right. So just to kind of put everything into perspective here, like look at William Henderson. Think of William Henderson back in the day, one of the best fullbacks in the history of the game, in my opinion. He didn't run the ball a whole lot. He was a lead blocker, and he caught the ball in the flat, caught the ball out of the backfield, right? Now, if you go all the way back to Lombardi's days, the fullback was Jim Taylor. Jim Taylor rushed for 1,000 yards just about every year. So he was the Packers' leading rusher for the longest time. So as the years went on, the game evolved, and the fullback became more of just a blocking back, pass catcher type, right? In some cases, you'll hear us refer to him as the H-back. So if I'm doing chalk talk and I'm drawing out a play and going, okay, here's the entire play call, you'll hear me to refer to the fullback as the H. Some people refer to the fullback as the F, right? They'll call him the F. They'll call the halfback the H and the fullback the F. Well, in Matt LaFleur's offense, he's got an F receiver. So you got to go a different route. So what I do is I identify if there is a fullback in the backfield or if there's a tight end back there lined up in a fullback position, I'll refer to them as the H-back. I will always refer to the halfback as the T or the tailback, okay? And then that frees up the letter F to refer to the flyer or the F receiver in Matt LaFleur's offense, and on and on. So that's the difference. Hopefully that answered your question. Sorry to be so long-winded, but pretty much gave you the history of the fullback position. My bad. Fullback is a blocking back. That's all you need to know. All right, there you go. Nick McSween said it may be why the use of the fullbacks is decreasing, because you're looking to spread defenses out. Right now, that's what made Kyle Shanahan's offense really pop the last, like 4 or 5 years ago. It's because people had started to get away from the fullback and replace it with tight ends and these hybrid tight ends who could get out in the pass route. Now, when Kyle Shanahan brought the fullback back, guess what? You got to change up your whole run gap integrity, right? You got to go, like Matt LaFleur says, 2 backs equal 2 gaps, 1 back equals one gap. So when Kyle Shanahan broke the fullback back out, all of a sudden defenses had to adjust to that. And they would run a lot of stretch, a lot of outside zone with the fullback as the lead blocker. And boy, you talking about causing chaos, because those guys in the middle are 2-gapping, and then you're stretching it outside the numbers. It's only natural that if those guys aren't being aggressive and attacking 1 gap, you're going to gain a half a hat as you get outside. So that's one of the reasons it popped. Now everybody's kind of caught on to it a little bit, and it feels like it's going away from the fullback once again. But we'll see. The league is cyclical; it always comes back. So
for sure. Hey Clayton, we got breaking news.
Oh, let's hear it, man.
Chuck Norris checking in from Lot 1. Go Pack, go! We are literally playing on his TV in Lot 1 right now. Shout out to the Lot 1 tailgate.
That's what I'm
have a
talking
daddy soda for us for sure.
Yes, sir. Y'all have fun, keep it safe, and get loud in that stadium. We know you will. We ain't got to worry about the Lot 1 folks, Tim. They're going to get loud in that stadium, I promise you.
You already know.
They've got all the fuel they need. Appreciate you, Chuck. Have a good game, buddy.
Hey, say hi to Tuck Norris while you're there for sure.
Yep. Mountain Man Pack. Good morning, Posse. Go Pack Go. Win today. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. United Bates. Happy game day morning, everyone. Good to see you in here, Bates. Omer in the house. Bill Huber just posted our kickers hitting a 65-yarder in warm-up. It's funny you mentioned that, Omer. We've actually got it. Let's show it real quick. So Bill Huber, one of the best news reporters, whatever you want to call sports reporters that covers the Packer, been doing it forever. See if we can get zoomed way in here. This was Brandon McManus from 65 yards earlier during pregame, and you can see, Tim, it skates right through there, man. Got it by about a yard, but my man hit it, right?
Yep.
Dude, this is what, the big thing about McManus in Denver was he's got a huge leg, and most people would just roll their eyes and say, oh, well, that's Denver. You can hit, anybody can hit those long field goals out there. You can see right here for 65 yards. Granted, it's on a tee without a 320-pound guy throwing his hands up in the kicking lane there, but nonetheless, banging 65-yarders through is absolutely awesome, man.
Absolutely. And, we'll see. We'll get our first look at him today. Hopefully we don't need big, long field goals, but you never know. It could be a close game. I'll be keeping an eye on Matt Orzich and, Daniel Whelan there with the snap, the hold, and placement, and see how this kicking unit comes together kind of on a relatively short week. He was got to town, late last week, and practice this week. Hopefully they're good to go. But, yeah, leg looks good here pregame. I love it.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. And also, not only did he show that 65-yarder, but Rob Domofsky actually showed a different angle here. And I don't know if it was the 65-yarder or not, but Rob was out there getting a little bit different angle here on some of the kicks. He didn't give us, specifics on how far out. It looks like it's less than what is that? Probably about the 45. So I'd make a 55-yarder right here, Tim. I would imagine. Yep. See how much leg he's got left here with the 55. Oh, he got plenty for a 55. Plenty. Yeah. I think what you're going to see is those numbers stabilize between 40 and 50-yard kicks, right? And obviously not at the negative of Anders Carlson where he was struggling with the extra points. So you're kind of getting the best of both worlds from each of those kickers, in my opinion. I just don't want people to get the unrealistic expectation this guy's going to go out and bang 95% of his kicks. It's probably going to be somewhere between 83%, but he does stabilize. He keeps the extra points stabilized like Narveson did, believe it or not, was 100% on extra points. And It also, like I said, it gives you a lot more accuracy from that 40 to 50 range. So, all right, let's see what else we got here. We'll let that roll for a second. Appreciate you, Omer. Coach Lynn says, boys going to ball out in the all whites. Yes, sir. Looking forward to it. We got Dylan in the chat says, watching from the third level inside the stadium right now. Go Pack Go. That's what's up, man.
Let's go.
Enjoy the game, buddy. Have fun out there. And let's see, Coach Lynn, never change the bleacher seating. Amen, Coach. I heard some people say, oh, you need to get up with the times and get rid of the bleachers. And what are we talking about, Tim?
They did change the bleachers. They went from wood to, aluminum or steel, and so they're modernized bleachers. Make sure you bring your seat backs for the game if you're in the lower bowl.
Yes, sir. People keep complaining too, man. If they're going to keep complaining, go back to the wood. Right? Metal, we'll go back to the wood. I'm scared.
Enjoy the splinters.
Yeah, there you go. Cheesehead Burke in the house says, go Pack Go. Haven't been able to make the live shows consistently like I usually was, but I will still support fully and watch the next day. And remember to share and like. You're the man, Murph. We know you're always here in spirit. Anytime you can check us out live, bro, you make the show better. Just know that, all right? Let's see, iRock in the house. Good to see you, pal. He says, let's get the W today. Exactly. Miss Jen Wright in the house says there is no bad seat at Lambeau. There really isn't, Tim. I've sat on the Packers side. I've sat in the corner of the end zone. I've sat on the away side. I've sat up in the club seats, watched it from the loft. There's not a bad seat in the house, man.
No, there really isn't. Beautiful. It is the cathedral of professional football. We're blessed as Packer fans to have such a great venue, dude. It's awesome.
Yeah, it really is. Zach Cruz put a tweet out just a second ago and said, Packers have 5 healthy scratches today, Texans are down 4 starters on defense and won't have wide receiver Robert Woods or Nico Collins. So Robert Woods is out. Steven Sims is Houston's primary returner. Big injury advantage for Matt LaFleur's team today. As you can see, these are the guys that are out. So Steven Sims is actually their return guy, right?
Wow.
And like we had mentioned, Robert Woods is probably going to be outside of Tank Dell and Stephon Diggs. He was probably going to be that number 3 guy, right? So now they're just down to really those 2 top receivers they've got, with Nico Collins being out. Obviously, your 2 starting linebackers that were your starters in the nickel, if I understood correctly. So they're both missing. I mean, they're really banged up. You hate to catch a team that's banged up where it's like, okay, that's the only reason we beat them was because they were banged up. But you still can't overlook this game, man. D'Amico Ryans, he will be able to patch that defense together better than anyone in the league. That dude knows what he's doing. So got to keep an eye on that. I'm trying to see what the 5 healthy scratches are. So I'm going to comb through real quick, Tim, and see if I can find that. If you just want to kind of speak on this for a second, what do you think about them missing all those players there, obviously?
I think it's gonna help us, obviously. The guys that are missing on defense, I think is really gonna make an impact on this game. But like you said, D'Amico Ryans will figure that out, and it's next man up. And the important thing to remember too, being down these really 3 receivers, they still have Stephon Diggs. There are targets for CJ Stroud to utilize. We talked about Dalton Schultz last night on the pod a little bit, kind of a threat there as a pass catching tight end, someone that we have to account for. So, banged up or not, this is still going to be a tough game today. And I think it's going to be close. So hopefully we play disciplined, fundamentally sound football and get that dub.
Definitely. It looks like we got the inactives for the Packers here. I think Rob Domofsky tweeted it out. Let's see what we got. So Rob Domofsky says Dontavion Wicks and Kobe Wooden, both questionable, are active. So they will play. So we will have Wicks in the hopper if we need them. Packers inactives are safety Catano Ladapo, defensive lineman Brenton Cox Jr., guard/center Jacob Monk, tackle Travis Glover, tight end John Fitzpatrick, and defensive end Devontae Wyatt. So really the only person you're missing today is Devontae Wyatt, Tim. That's great. So the inactives, obviously, that's your full inactive list there. And you got Tay Wicks there with the shoulder, probably going to be wearing the brace. If we need him, we can go to him. I would say try to lean away from him and, play Bo a little bit more. That way he can get fully healthy. But who knows, man? Tay Wicks might be a big part of the game plan too.
Yeah, you never know. It could be a little bit of gamesmanship. Maybe the shoulder's better than they've been leading on. Who knows? But hey, we've got depth in that receiver room. But I'd love to see Tay Wicks get out there. That's a guy we want to get going, right? He's kind of had a little bit of ups and downs this year, and I think he's a talented player. And the more snaps we can get him, the better. But we also don't want to blow up that shoulder if he's still dealing with something. So we'll keep an eye on number 13 today for sure.
Yeah, exactly, man. Definitely keep an eye on him. All right, let's see what else we got here. Anything else in the chat? We're good there. We're all caught up. Let's do this, Tim. Let's talk a little bit about these trade rumors. I know we talked about it briefly offline. Really interesting that this just kind of popped up as Easton Butler, who I don't know how you guys feel. I think Easton's a pretty reliable source. I don't think he ever says anything outlandish or anything that doesn't come with a little bit of merit with it. He mentions that this came from Ian Rappaport, at Rap Sheet. The NFL insider for the NFL Network. Veterans edge defender Preston Smith and offensive tackle Andre Dillard has been in discussions for a potential trade per Rap Sheet. On Smith, Ian mentioned that Smith is on several teams' radars. And on Dillard, he mentions that he could be a stopgap option for a team in need of a tackle. You got 2 different things here. I think it sounds like people are reaching out. Teams are reaching out to the Packers about Preston Smith because they are so kind of defensive end or edge rich, right? With LVN, obviously Rashawn Gary. The other thing too, you're seeing Carl Brooks line up in a wide 9 a little bit now. You've seen Kenny Clark in the wide 9. So they probably feel pretty good about, hey, if we needed to let go of Preston Smith, we could. But I think teams more or less are looking at the roster and going, hey, you guys got a bunch of defensive ends. Would you be willing to part with Preston? Now, couple different things. If you part with Preston, you're going to free up a bunch of money next year. I mean, his cap hit, I can't remember what it is exactly. I'll go pull it up real quick as you talk about this. But When it comes to his cap hit, obviously it would accelerate any guaranteed money to this year, I believe is how it would work, or you could at least get it on the books this year. But in the long run, if you could go without Preston, that would be better financially. The problem is, I think he is one of our better run defenders. I don't know how you feel about that. So it is give and take there, right? Like there's some pros and cons to letting someone like Preston Smith go if you decide to go that route.
Yeah, I'm not trading him if I'm Goody, and I think it's right to mention this. Easton Butler's reporting teams are expressing interest. Well, that doesn't mean we're interested in
Correct.
dealing them, but you do make a great point. I mean, you have to look at this from multiple angles if you're Goody, right? I mean, the cap hit, contract, freeing up money for next season. Preston Smith is getting older. But the play on the field, to me, looks pretty much the same as it's always been. Mr. Reliable, steady Eddie, as our boy Jacob would say. He's a valuable piece. And we were watching tape last week, and he's exploding off the snap and doesn't look like he's lost a step at all. And I agree with you. I think he's one of our better run defenders up front there. And I don't know. I think he's really valuable. Now, if a crazy, awesome trade offer comes through 1265 and you got to entertain it, and we're talking maybe multiple draft picks kind of scenario, Goody likes to load up on picks. I could see a scenario, but I don't see Preston Smith getting traded, right? At least I don't want it to happen. I like him to finish his career here, but you've got the numbers. This is perfect. So how many years left on this deal?
Yeah. So here's what we're looking at essentially when it comes to Preston Smith's contract. So they've got one voidable year in 2027. He's technically on the roster through 2026. So not just next year, but the year after that. Now the cap hit this year is $14.1 million. Okay. The cap hit next year jumps to $17.5 million. The cap hit in 2026 goes up to 18.2. Now here's the number you want to keep an eye on. You see the dead cap attached. So in 2024, if you were to get rid of him this year, you're going to have to take on $5 million in dead cap. All right. But understand that, because that would accelerate if you moved on after this year. Now, you can work out deals and things like that. I don't understand all the inner workings of how the contract, what part of it carries, what part of it doesn't. Spotrac does a pretty good job of handling this. At the beginning of the year, if they had cut him outright, you were going to end up still losing $5 million. So it made makes sense for him to be on the roster. Now, when you move on, if you do that next year, he's completely off the books to the best of my understanding. If you wait till next year or till the new league calendar year, you cut him loose, his dead cap's only 9.8. So you're going to be freeing up $8 million in cap. That's what I was meaning by next year. So if you did decide to move on from Preston Smith and you traded him, you're going to be freed up next year completely of that contract, right? And it may carry over to the next year. You might be able to designate it to the next year. Regardless, at the worst case scenario, you would be on the books for $9.8 million, but still an $8 million in savings as far as cap goes. So it's just something to kind of keep an eye on. After this year, it was kind of like, okay, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't bring him back. Now you got that voidable year that's going to accelerate whenever he is taken off the roster, but the guaranteed money is what sticks with the team, is the way I understand it. The salary the weekly checks go to the new team. So that's how that would shake out. So you would take, like I said, a bit of a cap hit now, but would definitely free up money in the long run. I didn't expect him to be on the roster next year. That's just me personally. I feel like they would probably cut him outright and free up that whatever it would be, $8 million roughly in cap space, just because you've kind of already drafted his replacement. Problem is, you're one injury away from going, dang, I wish we still had Preston, right? But
right.
Another name we didn't mention was Enigbare. Enigbare's been playing pretty damn good too. So, and you're now in this 4-3 where those edges aren't having to stand up all the time. So the defensive tackles, Kobe Wooden could probably play a 7 or a 9 tech if you needed him to. We know Carl Brooks can. We know Kenny can. So, to me, it's not so much about the draft pick compensation in return, as Ron says here, they will get offered a 5th for Preston. I really don't care what the offer is there. It could be a 7th rounder. I'm not even looking at it like, is it worth it to trade him for that pick? I'm looking at it long-term, freeing up the cap, right?
Right.
Because you've got these other guys you want to try to get on the field. Whether we agree with them or not, Tim, it's a conversation every week where people are going like, man, why isn't so-and-so on the field more, right?
Yep.
So that's definitely something that comes into play there. But,
yeah, it's tough. You got to make that. You got to do that dance between getting your young guys. They got to get those reps, and then you also want your veteran, established guys to be that anchor in the lineup. So it's kind of a delicate balance that they got to play. But I'm with you, Clayton. I think our boy Preston ain't going nowhere.
Yeah,
That's
see.
my thoughts.
We'll see how it shakes out, man. And again, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said, just because teams are showing interest doesn't mean the Packers are interested in trading them. It's so true. It is. Now, the other guy we mentioned with DeAndre Dillard, to me, that feels like that's the Packers. And this is what it says, on Smith, Ian mentions that, several teams, blah, blah, blah. On Dillard, he mentions that he could be a stopgap option for a team in need of a tackle. To me, that feels like the Packers may have called around and said, and I have no reason to believe, I don't have any inside information. This is just Clayton, the Packer fan, saying the way that's worded, it feels like the team has used Ian to go, hey, first of all, spread all this information, because if anybody else is in the edge market, they may come in and drive up the cost on Preston and make it worth it for them to trade him, but also let everybody know Andre Dillard's available out there. And the way you do that is by saying people are contacting you about Andre Dillard.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really not happening. So you're kind of getting the line season 2.0 here. You don't really know what to believe until a deal's actually done. But obviously Dillard didn't shake out exactly the way they wanted him to. And if you were to be able to, you picked him up in free agency for next to nothing. Right. If I remember correctly, he was a free agent signing, right, Tim? We did not trade for Andre Dillard. Right?
No,
okay.
That was a signing. Yeah.
If you flip that into a conditional 6th or 7th round pick for someone you don't plan on playing anyway, because someone else has already passed them up on the depth chart, you know what I mean? Great. Yeah. Just an extra pick you're picking up. So definitely something to keep an eye on. I did not have trade rumors on the bingo card for the pregame show today, but here we are. So
heard it from a fan right here.
Exactly. All right, let's get back to the chat here real quick. Cheesehead Murph, need Quay to show up big and take away Schultz. Great point. I wish we had time. Matter of fact, I'm doing it right now, Tim. You've talked about Dalton Schultz a lot. Obviously, PFF's not very high on him, but he's a tight end that's been around the league for a while now. And if I remember correctly, wasn't he with the Dallas Cowboys for a short stint?
Yep.
Played pretty darn well, didn't he? So I'm going to go pull up the Texans NFL Pro page here real quick, and we're going to see if we can figure out exactly what routes he likes to run. But what do you think about what Murph has to say here?
I think he's right. I mean, Quay and Cooper, really. Those guys are really athletic. I think, Edgerrin Cooper is the guy you want. He's your downhill guy. And Quay obviously is, his strong suit is coverage, but I talk a lot about Dalton Schultz because I saw it on tape last week. A lot of targets, and he's being used in that pass game and the run game for Houston. And with them being down weapons on offense, I would anticipate this is going to be another day that Dalton Schultz is going to be a piece in this offense that we have to account for. I know Diggs is going to get a lot of attention, of course, but really, third and 5, those kind of situations, I'm looking at that tight end, and we got to take away the middle of the field for sure. So I agree with Murph. Quay, really what he's saying is linebackers in general, but yeah, especially Quay Walker, he's got to step up and own this matchup today for sure.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so here is Dalton Schultz. This is a 16-yarder. I just tried to find the plays where he gained more than 10 yards. He had a lot of 4, 6 yards, 7 yards, things like that. But here is a 16-yarder. You see right here he's lined up. He's not necessarily attached. He's somewhat flexed off the line. I'm pretty sure this is Dalton Schultz, number 86 right here. And let's see what route he runs. Let's see what we need to keep an eye on for today. So that's just a little out route, right? A little out, almost like a reverse spot route there.
Yep.
So pretty decent yak. Good hands there, right? Let's see. Here is a 16-yarder. And this was against the Bears, unless that's the one I just showed you. Hopefully it isn't. Let's see. Did it reset? Hold on just a second. Hate it how that does that, man. We need to turn the autoplay off. So we're looking for the 16-yarder. Was that the one we just showed? I think it may have been. Yeah, it was. Okay. So, yeah, again, just a little out route there on that 16-yarder. I think he had a much larger gain on another play here. So we've seen an out route. Here we go, 23 yards. This was against the Jaguars. Obviously nothing to write home about, but you see he's attached but off the line of scrimmage here, what we call Y off, a little cheat motion. So he's flexed, ball snapped, and it looks like That was kind of a little post route, right? Almost
Yep.
like a little reverse pro route. So, matter of fact, let's do this. Let's go sideline here too and get a little bit better look at it. Here we go, 23-yarder. So you see the motion over. So they motion to Trey left, and it's you're definitely seeing cheat motion there. So he's the number 2, 1, 2, 3. So he's the number 2, gets upfield and just run a little post route, right?
Should look familiar to us. We run real similar stuff here in Green Bay.
Yeah, no doubt. And the thing about these two teams, man, they are so much alike. They run pretty much the same defense with their own spin on it, the same offense with their own spin on it. Here's an 18-yarder, and this was against Buffalo, it looks like. So I'm thinking this is Dalton Schultz right here. So he's kind of playing why he's just barely detached. So he is the number 3. This is what we mean. Right, I'm going to drop this down real. Yeah, thank you, Tim. Appreciate it. So when we say the 3, you always count from the outside in. There's your 1, and if you want to include the running back, that's the 2. Then you got the ball. So on the other side here, sorry, couldn't see my cursor. I apologize. Here is your number 1. Here is your number 2. Here is your number 3. So when you hear us say 1, 2, or 3 receiver, that's what we're referring to. So he's the 3 right here on this play. And let's see what route he runs on this game. So a little out route. Well, that's kind of that. They like that little reverse spot, don't they? Where they kind of running out and sit.
Exactly.
So keep an eye on that. And that's a zone beater for sure. What you're looking to do is get the defense, especially in a trips or tray look, getting them to commit to their assignment, show a corner, get them backpedaling, and then just sit down in kind of that reverse spot look. So, all right. So it's mostly outbreakers though. Other than that post, you've gotten 2 outbreakers, right?
Yep.
That's what we've seen so far. Let's see about this 11-yarder right here against Buffalo as well. They're in a bunch set, so he's in the nub. So this looks familiar, don't it? Bunch nasty nub. So he should be nub left right there. They're gonna little sugar cheat motion there with the T. Dalton Schultz just gonna run a little shallow cross there. There you go. So now you're seeing the shift. So he does have a pretty extensive route tree, looks like. So
yeah, absolutely. This is what I was saying is like he's gonna get targets today. It's a foregone conclusion. It's going to happen. So how are we going to address that? Because that's what's going to chip away, right? Are those type of plays. That's how they use him. You know, it's kind of like almost an extension of your run game to get those little quick gains. Oh, here we go. New England highlights. He was utilized a lot last week.
Yeah, so right there's another little spot play, right? Yep. You'll hear me refer to it as a slurl. Some people call it spot. He may actually bend out. Yeah, so no, it's just a curl. So he just ran a curl. So you're seeing, man, they use him underneath against zone coverage. This is all zone coverage right here. So looked like his read was actually right here, though. My man, boy, did he miss that. So, which they're not very good at throwing the ball deep statistically, but C.J. Stroud can definitely cut you apart underneath. You're seeing some of these passing concepts that they like to run. So just interesting, man. Interesting. Appreciate you bringing that up, Murph. And like he was talking about with Quay. Now, here's the thing. Based off of the routes we just seen, the whole reason I pulled that up, you've seen some outbreakers, you've seen some shallow crosses. The thing that Quay does really well, and I don't want to sound like – I don't want to be rude here. Trying to choose my words wisely. Sorry, Coach Aff. The best thing that Quay can do is cover vertically. If you send the 3 – down the seam and he's in Tampa 2, he's your guy. 6 foot, whatever he's 6'4", 6'3", whatever he is, blazing speed, good coverage vertically. He just struggles in space when he's having to diagnose, okay, a route combination that's flooding a zone defense.
Right.
He just kind of
they'll run those little rub routes.
Yes.
Kind of like the pick play, so to speak. Yep.
So, I'm with you, Murph. If we can get Quay to show up. Now, as far as him shutting down Dalton Schultz, I could see them running those spot plays, those reverse spots, the curl, the drag. To me, my personal opinion, doesn't mean I'm right or anybody else is wrong. I don't think that's Quay's strength. Now, if you showed me a couple of skinny posts running the seam, oh, yeah, I'd be like, heck yeah, put Quay over there on him. So we'll see. I'm sure Coach Haff will have something for him. So, but again, it's not like when I look through his highlights there, I mean, you're talking about all 18 of his catches, 4 yards, 5 yards, 7 yards, 5 yards, 16 yards, 3 yards, 8 yards, 23 yards, 5 yards, 6 yards, 2 yards, 18 yards, 11 yards, 3 yards, 8 yards. So you're not seeing like the Tucker Kraft 66-yard touchdown, right?
Right. couple chunk plays in there, but really it's the dink and dunk all day long. And that was my concern is like, we've got to account for Dalton Schultz. I'm not saying he's this like, Hall of Fame legendary tight end, this is not Antonio Gates or somebody, but like you got to account for it because we had a tendency before to get eaten alive by tight end play. And I just hope we don't see that today. I hope the boys are ready.
No doubt about it. The one that comes to mind for me is our boy Stephon Diggs. That's the one that worries me the most. He's your more explosive receiver. Now, we showed his 3 touchdowns all came like inside the 20, inside the 10, inside the 5. So they were just short little slants. I think one was an out route. So, just to kind of give you an idea of how he scored his touchdowns. But he does here's a 21-yarder I'm looking at. Matter of fact, let's just pop it up here real quick and take a quick glance. This is a 21-yarder on 3rd and 10. So I don't know where he's lined up right off the bat, but we'll find out real quick. You see here, they're in that tray right look, and they've got Dalton Schultz out way wide here now against the sideline. So let's see if we can catch this 21-yarder here. See if they've got him in the boundary. They do, don't they? Yeah. So they have him in the boundary X. This is what they love to do in Houston is they love to throw to the sidelines. Yep. That was something that was in our gameplay notes. So here's Stephon Diggs. He's playing boundary X. What we mean by that is short side of the field, right? Short side of the field is called the boundary. Now, the X receiver is identified by being on the line of scrimmage opposite the tight end. The tight end is flexed, but he is to the right, so that makes him the boundary X receiver. What he's going to run here is just kind of it's not even really a true corner route. It's almost like that pro route we talk about, or what this guy refers to as the C route here. But watch out. He bends inside and comes back out. That's what you call a pro route. And nice, some people just call it a corner. That's okay too. So there's where you see Stephon Diggs getting the chunker. And now let's go to this. Here's a 19-yard. I'm a chunker myself. I can say that, right? All right. Here goes a 19-yarder and trying to see where he's lined up. He might be in the slot this time. We showed he's got kind of an even split of snaps at the slot and out wide. Let's see if this is him in the slot. It looks like a smaller body dude. But so they're in a 12 personnel here. Play action. Yep. See the post? There it is again, Tim. It's not like they're catching the post in full stride, man. They're kind of looking to sit down after the post and after the corner, right?
Yep.
So
taking that possession catch right there. Doesn't want to lose it. Don't need the yards after. We just got to move the sticks.
Yeah. So you can see they move him. They move Stephon Diggs all the way around, man. All the way around.
I like what Ron said here in the chat. Glad they like to throw to the boundary. Packers seem to defend that well. It is true.
Yeah.
Look for Ja and look for X. These guys are going to be hunting on the boundary. So great point by Ron.
It's kind of a double-edged sword for me too, though, because the reason I worry about it is typically the teams you face, they can't hammer that pro route in the way C.J. Stroud did. C.J. Stroud's got damn near elite arm talent. He's so accurate outside of the numbers. So from a defensive coordinator standpoint, you get so used to all year long, there's not many quarterbacks that can make that throw, right? And there's not many receivers that can make that kind of route, run that kind of route, and have the hands, the wherewithal, the awareness of the sideline to make that catch in a tight window. So you get a little laxed. And I'm not suggesting that's what Jeff Hafley's doing here. Don't throw it back up on the screen on me, Tim. But I'm not suggesting that's what's happening. But I could see them being like, all right, let's take the middle of the field away. And then all of a sudden he starts cutting you up on the sideline. Now they're dictating what you're doing as opposed to you game planning around. So I would imagine they're going to be looking to do some Mabel, running a little zone Mabel and play this. The other thing too that helps us, and it kind of goes to what Ron was just saying, is we play a lot of cover one man, and you guys remember the Xavier McKinney interception on that pro route they ran. It was supposed to be a corner, but Keyshawn Nixon played it perfectly out of the slot and rerouted the guy inside. So Hafley is definitely teaching. He's harping on the technique of cover one man and making sure you're keeping outside leverage when playing cover one man, especially when you're playing Robert or Hull, where you're kind of funneling everything to the middle of the field. So I can understand why Ron said that for sure. Let's see, here is a 28-yarder, and it looks like this is Diggs right here. So once again, short side of the field, the boundary, the tight end is, now they got a double tight end set, but I would call this the boundary X right here. So that should be Diggs right there. Let's see what happens on this route. This time going inside, a little dig route. So he sowed the corner. Oh, look at that. Boy, dig turned into a climb. It's a nice little gainer right there, boys.
I was thinking the third window too. I mean, he had all day to get that across. That's a long route.
He really did. Let's take a look at the protection on that since you brought it up, Emilio. Let's see. Is it a 4-man, 5-man rush? This is Jacksonville. They could bring 18 and still not hit home. But, all right, so it's a 4-man rush. 56 is staying out in the flat. Getting held there too. Boy, did you see that?
Yeah.
That's why he had so long. Watch right here. Look at this. Look at that. Got him in the arm bar, the old Ric Flair arm bar. What are we doing here, bub? He's a married man. What are you doing?
Yeah.
You know anyway, so and again on the run, there's that arm talent we're talking about. Look at this throw across his body to his left, just a flick of the wrist, man. TJ Stroud's that dude. It's gonna be fun to watch these quarterbacks match up. Emilio, what's your take on the game, man? I'll go ahead and stop nerding out over film here on a pregame show like a moron. But what do you how you feeling about this game, man? What are you thinking?
Dude, I mean, it's gonna be a good one. We've had this one circled for a while. My take has been for a long time. I think CJ Stroud gets a lot of love. I don't think Jordan Love gets enough of it. So I think today's going to be a good game for, a bar. See where each other are at. I know that CJ's good. We know Jordan's good, but where are they actually at now? Whose defense is going to step up is going to be huge. I think he's been cooking. I think that oh man, that guy.
Doug Hafley and Tupac LaFleur, baby. Let's go.
Shout out to Omer for putting that together.
Nice. Yeah, so Hafley's got one in the chamber, man. He's ready to roll. And I think that they're going to play fast and physical. Each week it seems like they're sharpening it a little bit more. The chain was dull week 1, right? But they've been sitting there filing away at it. And I think that it's going to start showing up here. I could almost see us breaking 20. I think we could get a couple turnovers, break 20 for the season this week.
I love it. Joe Mixon, we've talked about him. Let's show this 59-yarder here real quick, okay? So Joe Mixon in the backfield, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so this is off left tackle. And you notice they got that bunch nasty look again, right?
Yeah.
So actually in a 12 look too. So they got a bunch out of a 12 personnel. You might see a lot more base today from the Green Bay Packers with their 4-3. But let's watch them run off tackle here. Let's see if we can pick up on what it is. Oh, did you see that little mini sift?
Yeah.
So that's what we're talking about, still in the gap. 87 is cracking down. 76 is going to ignore the nose and get over here and help double and get to the next level. You see it crack back. Beautiful placement right there. Going to ear hole that dude. I mean, that's some good burst coming through the line too, boys. And he turns it on here at the end.
Yeah, it's crazy. We talk about looking at C.J. Stroud and Jordan Love and the similarities. I look at Joe Mixon and Josh Jacobs, very similar running styles, able to hop into the gap here, quick little move, and he's off to the races. Really reminds me a lot of what we do with Josh Jacobs. But it's like Emilio said, man, it's going to come down to the line play, I think, both sides of the ball, really. How well is our line going to hold up against the run? Because the Texans they run a lot of condensed sets. Clearly, they're going to want to run the ball today. I mean, we talk about establishing the run for our game plan. I think Houston's going to be looking at it very similarly, being down a few weapons in the receiver core on offense. So we got to account for Mixon for sure.
You got to account for the play action, too. I'm going to pause it here. Look at this. All right, so he just handed the ball. Look at everybody committed to the run. If he boots this out the backside, this guy, I mean, he's going to have no problem beating that dude to get the throw off. But look at all these guys, eyes in the backfield as the ball is handed off, right? If we go back just a touch, see what I'm talking about, how everybody is just downhill,
right,
and not overlook C.J. Stroud's ability to run play action pass. Because if he had kept that ball right there, yeah,
and rolled out, he's either off to the races with his feet or he's looking downfield at an open receiver.
And those linemen got up to the second level quick. I mean, at first I thought their splits were a little tight. I don't know if that's just the formation or whatever. They're condensed right there, but man, they explode. They got up to that second level fast. That guard put a hand on him, made sure he's all taken care of, and then, like you said, ear hold him and turned him.
Yeah, these two guards, 70. These guys right here, man.
And that's where my worry would be. It's got to be Quay and Edge. We got to get off of those. You can't let them get into your chest when they're climbing to that second level, especially on like a trap or something like that, where once you ear hole them, it springs them. The only other thing I would say is the past couple highlights were against the Jaguars, and then these couple are against the Patriots. So both are 1-5 right now playing, in London. So let's take it with a grain of salt is all.
Yeah, here's a 20-yard touchdown run here. Similar. Do you see it? Same look.
Yep.
Is this the same play? Just a different? No, it can't be, right?
No, it looks like the same play.
No.
That is
it? Oh, yeah, because 87 stole a gap. Is that
different tight end, I think.
Yeah, watch this tight end. See him? Just a little cheat. He's going to come over. They're going to ignore the nose.
Yeah, that's the same.
Tight end tie him up.
But see here, the guard wasn't able to get up to 48, the backer this time. The hole didn't open up kind of like it did last time.
That's all right. Look, Mixon's just like, all right, let's just take it all the way out here, boys.
Yep.
He's good back, man. Good back. All right. So there you go. I said we were done nerding out over tape. We're still nerding out over tape. Jen Wright in the chat says, Scoop goes off today. Yes, ma'am. Sign me up. I'll
You
take
heard it from a fan right here.
2-0 for this. The Packers bar I'm at doesn't have Evan Williams. About to report them to the health department. LOL. Just kidding. I'm just thankful they are here. There you go. Hey, listen.
Evan Williams, great football player, not a great whiskey.
And what
hey, Tim, you don't say that.
You don't say that. Tim, listen, where I'm from, there is no such thing as a bad whiskey. So.
Ain't no problem. Huh? That ain't no problem.
J. Cole in the chat. I'm calling it. McKinney will pick off Stroud on a crosser to Schultz. Let's go.
Here's the guy.
Go Pack 84 fans. Snoop Dogg League reunion today with C.J. Stroud, Romeo Dobbs, and Keyshawn Nixon.
Yep.
Nixon is Snoop's nephew. There you go, man. Hit him with that who real quick, Tim. I got to get a little Snoop in my life. You know what I'm saying?
The California connection. Yeah, man.
Who? There you go. Asking you shall receive. 2-0 for this says Tim is just Halfley with shorter hair. There you go. Hey, I see it, Tim. I see it.
See?
Right, my man, Coach Half. Throw it up there with the shades one more time for me. I gotta get it. There it is, right there. Look at these guys. Look at these guys. Look at these.
He's already got his halfway down too.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you need to bum a smoke. Holler at me and Coach Half. I got you.
Oh man. All right. Let's see. Cottonmouth must be a Texans fan. He says, loving these Texans highlights. You better not get used to it, sir. You better not get used to it. You'll never see it again after this week. Now, good luck today. If you are a Texans fan, good luck today, man. Chris Ian, why y'all always got to be rude to the opposing fan? Everybody comes in here all respectful, and then Chris Ian says Texans fans are casual. It's like, what's unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. Anything else you guys want to hit on? Emilio, get your take on this. Did you hear about the trade rumors, bro?
I didn't.
Yeah, so this is Easton Butler tweeted this out, and this is from Ian Rappaport. Veterans edge defender Preston Smith and offensive tackle Andre Dillard has been in discussions for a potential trade per rap sheet. On Smith, Ian mentions that Preston Smith is on several teams' radars, and on Dillard, he mentions that he could be a stopgap option for a team in need of a tackle. Like I mentioned to Tim, this kind of feels like to me other teams are reaching out to the Packers about Preston Smith, and the Packers, it sounds like, are shopping Andre Dillard. What do you think about that?
I think you're spot on with that, just because when we've had line issues or people have gone down with injuries, it hasn't been Dillard that has come out on the field once. You know what I mean? So it's not like that's his first go-to. We'd rather move other people around. I feel like they'd rather put Monk out there, something like that. But Preston Smith, that would be my only thing. I know that they were talking about, maybe trying to get Myles Garrett or Max Crosby or whatever over here. But if you're going to do that, you probably do need to move Preston to open up that spot. I mean, we have a lot of talent underneath. We're not going to, you're not going to bring over Max or Myles and have them be third on the depth chart behind Preston and Rashawn. I feel like that's a little awkward, but we also did just rework Preston's deal. He signed it this offseason, wasn't it? So if it's more trade friendly after we reworked it, fine. Let's look at something, but I wouldn't be opposed to keeping Preston. He's, steady Eddie. He's always there for us. He's a great locker room guy. Unless
hardly ever miss it, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah, missed the one game, and that was against his old team. So it's not like he's a liability, but that's tough.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Let's take a quick glance at what they like to do offensively. They being the Houston Texans, so they're in 11 personnel. 51. I don't know what's going on with the dogs downstairs. Goodness gracious. 11 personnel, 51.5% of the time. All right. 12 personnel, 25.7% of the time. And then 0-0, I mean, I guess 5 wide receiver sets, right? That's the way I would understand that. 18% of the time they go 5 wide. Is that correct? What are we doing here? And then 21 personnel only 1.7% of the time. Really, the moral of the story is you're going to see 11 and 12 the majority of the time. Now, when you talk about their EPA ranking out of 12 personnel, a lot of those clips we just showed you, especially in the running game, were from 12 personnel, right? Their EPA ranking is second best in the league when they come out in 12 personnel, and then they're 17th in 11 personnel. So they're having way more success with that 12 personnel, meaning one running back, 2 tight ends, which will trigger the Packers' base 4-3 defense. It's going to be interesting to see how they play that. And who knows, maybe we break out a big nickel against their 12 personnel. I haven't seen it yet this year, but you never know how it's going to shake out. Does that surprise you guys as far as them having so much success out of 12 personnel and obviously them playing so much of it at 25%?
A little surprising. But I guess my thought process is, if I see them in 12, you almost want to think run, right? You're going to think maybe they're going to run with 2 tight end set, but then looking at the tape we just saw with Schultz, catching balls in the flat and running crossers, I don't know, but I'm prepared for a lot of 11 personnel personally today. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think it's all about the matchup. Going up against the Patriots and the Jaguars, let's just move the ball down the field, keep the downs churning, things like that. But honestly, it surprised me is, like you said, that 0-0, 5 wide. I couldn't even name all 5 of their wide receivers. They're
right.
I got Stephon. It's like, and they got injuries, stuff like that. So
right.
Maybe they were in the 5 wide early in the season before they had some of the injuries, and then kind of got away from it. And we're saying, hey, now that just like with the Rams, now with our personnel, now that we whatever, our wide receivers are injured, let's go to 12 more.
Yeah.
But like Tim said.
Yeah, you kind of figure out who you are as you get later in the year too, right? You start to get away from that stuff that wasn't working. So, yeah, no doubt about it. All right, one last look here before we get ready to wrap up. Appreciate everybody hanging out. If you would hit that like button, you guys and gals are awesome. This is pregame shows are the highlight of the week for me. A lot of times the postgame shows are, but you never know if you're going to be coming in here after an L or a dub. You know what I mean? Pregame show is always hope. But this is pretty cool. Here's the first look at those icy cold uniforms. It's Josh Jacobs in the tunnel with Jaden Reed and the boys. I think that's Keyshawn right there. Look at that. Let's go.
What did Keyshawn end up wanting to wear? Let's see. I know he was talking about it at his locker you got one with the yellow sleeves and the yellow gloves. That's
dude, I'm about
that's kind of tough. That's kind of tough. I'm going to be honest. But that means Ja's probably wearing the baggy sleeves too, right?
He'll be wearing the baggy yellow. I guarantee it, man.
Yeah.
Ja might come out wearing purple. You never know about that, dude. He does
but I also wouldn't mind an all white look. I mean, I like that Keyshawn's got that going. Maybe even the little sweatshirt hoodie, hanging over like James Jones, hang over the nameplate kind of thing. I mean, you got to look good to play good, right?
Absolutely. What was it he said? Dion said back in the day, Tim, look good, play good, they pay good, right?
That's right. Prime time, baby.
Love that dude, man. Boy, he turned Colorado around quick. That's just wild.
Yeah.
That dude, unbelievable. Trying to see if there's any other pregame looks here real quick.
I want to see that white jersey stay clean on number 10, though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's what I was looking.
No green, no grass stains on that. Build that wall around them and protect them all day long.
You're always talking about the wall.
Dude, that's going to be the key, man. If we don't have that, I'm telling you, if there's not a wall around Jordan Love until week 22, we're going to have a problem.
You heard it from a fan right here.
We already saw what happened in week 1 when the wall was failing, man. They started breaking through. It was over.
Yep.
We got you with the all whites here. You ready? Guess who it is? Brandon McManus, baby. Look at the all white iced out there.
Oh,
dude, let's go.
I love it. Getting them extra reps in too with your holder.
Wheeling gets it though. Wheeling gets it.
Yeah.
See the difference. McManus has got the little ankle calves showing. Wheeling gets it. Let's cover those up. We need it to be white from the cleat all the way up to the dirt. You know what I mean? All the way up to your shoulders.
This show sucks.
Look at that hold. Look at that hold though.
A little forward tilt, Tim.
Yeah, and left hand. His left hand on the ball almost looks like he's palming it. So I'm wondering what the wind is like out there today. I bet you it's swirling through there pretty nice. So
It does look like McManus hits it fat though.
Yeah,
sideways, fat with the foot.
He's been out there kicking for a while. Was earlier. Obviously, they're probably off the field now. I was showing Tim earlier. He hit a 60. I think it was a 65 yarder that he hit. Now it was off a tee, right?
Right.
But here is one that just got tweeted out by Bill Hubert. He's been keeping a close eye on it all morning long. Let's see. This one is McManus from 60 in this video, and he just made one from 61. So obviously his range is going to be, when you look at just overall distance, I think Matt LaFleur probably have 60 on the radar, man. If you need a 60-yarder,
which means Matt's only going to let him go up to 50.
Right.
Matt's not going to put him on blast. I don't think first game at home, unless we have to, unless it's end of half, 2 seconds left, sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm excited to see him try one from between 40 and 50. Because that was where Narvison obviously was really, really struggling. So,
that's what we brought him here to do, right? That absolutely. Range, yeah, for sure.
100% extra points, much better at that range from 40 to 50. And like I said, if it comes down to a 60-plus yarder or even a 50-plus yarder to win the game, you probably don't deserve to win the game, in my opinion, right? Mm-hmm. So just hit the kicks that are there, and let's come out and play some ball. You see everybody too, man. Look at the end zone here, everybody whiting out. You love it. We're ready
Big
to roll.
game for Wheelan. He's got to make sure he gets it down like McManus wants it. We don't need any hiccups in the operation. Like Bisaccia was saying, man, it's been a lot of working on snap and hold. McManus knows how to kick. We got to make sure we're holding it right for him.
Yeah. If you don't hold it right, he's going to give you one of these. You know what I'm saying? Emilio, break this down. We're about to sign off. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us. Hit that like button before you leave because we're going to talk about some nonsense. Is this not a birth control haircut right here, bro?
Yeah, he's got one of those air compressors welded to his truck, and right before he went in there, hit it with the got it to stick up, and then he said, man, horns are down after a game like that. That was tough. That was a rough game. That's brutal.
Texas fans have been running that mouth all offseason since joining the SEC. They just got smacked in the mouth by old Kirby Smart last night. So
that was it. Yeah, it was a big SEC test, and were they ready for it? I don't know. This dude honestly looks like he's AI generated. Like if it was one of those where it comes across the screen and you got to put the hair on him. You know what I mean? He's probably bald, and this is just the one they landed on.
This is Jacob's creative coach on NCAA 25, right? Love it. All right, so once again, forecast look like it's going to be in the 70s pretty much all day long. Going to be beautiful weather. There is going to be a bit of a breeze, something like 15 to 20 mile an hour winds, so keep an eye on that. But anything else, guys? We get ready to sign off here.
Go Pack, go! Get that dub.
Mm-hmm. All right. J Love for 300. TJ Stroud for 225-ish. But defense holds. I'd say defense only gives up 21 max.
That ain't no problem. That ain't no problem.
Well, Turtles said the only thing that matters is McKinney 2 picks today. Remember this. Love it. So Turtles, love it. All right. Thanks everybody who tuned in. This was a lot of fun. We'll see you immediately following the game for the post-game show. We'll be bringing you stats, news, analysis, live press conferences, all that good stuff. So enjoy the game. Everybody be safe out there. Make sure if you are having a daddy soda or two that you've got you a driver lined up. You know how it goes. And Marco Dale end it with, this show sucks. I agree more, Mark.
Get you tuned up.
Help me out here, Tim.
For those of you listening on the pod,
thank you for making us part of your day. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world. And go back, go.